There have been several questions about how the educator and the evaluator deal with the student growth portion and the evidence that needs to be uploaded into the stages system. As we've talked about in earlier modules, you know that there are different areas for the Type 2 and the Type 3 assessment artifacts. In the Type 2 area, there are two specific areas. One is for the monitoring of student growth goals, and the other is for the monitoring of the professional practice. The educator, as we've said before, for the professional practice, would go in, they can self-rate, and then they can upload evidence as it relates to the rubric for professional practice within the student growth. When they're done, they can just save and close with that particular area. In terms of the student growth measures, when they get their data set, they can upload it into the evaluatee evidence and then self-rate based on the percentage of students that met the student growth expectations. Again, they can self-rate this. When they are done adding all of their Type 2 information, there's a button at the bottom that says Complete Module. Once this has been completely finished with the educator's rationale, the data sets, the artifacts that they want to share, they hit the Complete Module button, and that will completely lock the Type 2 information for the evaluator to see. It cannot be unlocked by the educator at that point. The exact same process occurs for the Type 3. This one has already been locked, but you can see I can still go in it and see what it is that I uploaded. When we look at the Type 3, remember we have already closed out the Type 2. We've closed out the monitoring and rubric portion of the Type 3, but we need to also close out the goal area that the educator tracked and monitored their goals. You'll notice here that this particular educator has 4 different goals, and they will need to complete each one in order for the evaluator to be able to evaluate. So what I've done here is I've already gone in and completed these, but let's say this goal is no longer wanted by the educator. I'm going to go into that goal, and you'll notice that there is a delete goal button. So I'm going to go ahead and click that delete goal button. Inside each of these, there is a complete goal button that has probably disappeared now because we've already completed it, but it would be also at the top. And so each individual goal needs to be completed in order to get a button that looks like this, complete, to pop up. Otherwise, all you'll see down here is an add goal button. So all of these individually need to be either completed or deleted for this button to pop up. Once this has been completed and there are no further changes that need to be made, you can hit the complete button. So I'm in as the teacher right now, and you can see that that particular area has been completed. What I'm going to do next is go in as the evaluator so that you can see what the evaluator will see, but I'm still in as the educator so that you can see that it has been completed each of these areas. So now I'm logged in as the evaluator, and you can see, I'm actually going to close this for you so you can see exactly where I am. I'm going to scroll down in the checklist, and you'll notice that for the student growth portion, everything has been completed. And this looks just like we did last year when we started talking about the summative component ratings. I'm going to go in that area. And remember, we'll still have the professional practice pieces that need to be completed for the time of the summative. But now we have these additional pieces that will be completed at the time of the summative. So I'm going to go into part 2, which is the monitoring piece. And you can see that I have the ability to go ahead and evaluate where I feel the professional practice of the student growth monitoring falls. Now, if I want to take a look at what the educator had to say, I can hit the Compare With button. I'm going to click on the Type 2 student growth because that's the one I'm on right now, and I'm going to hit Compare. And what that's going to do is it's going to bring in the self-rate for the educator and what they rated themselves. Right now, the program is not pulling in the evidence from that educator self-rating portion, and we know that that is a glitch in the system that needs to get corrected. So you may have to go back into that portion of the rubric that or the checklist that shows what the educator has uploaded at this time. And it's really important that you will do that, because if the educator has self-rated as proficient, but indeed the percentage was needs improvement, it is defaulting to the self-rating that the teacher gave for some reason, which is also a glitch in the system. So do make sure that you are cross-checking between what the data that has been uploaded indicates and what needs to be checked over here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark each of the areas. I'm going into the type 3 professional practice. I'm going to hit the compare with button. I'm going to go to type 3, not type 2. You know, in the past we've selected all and brought everything in. In this case, we just want to bring in the type 3. We want to hit the compare with button, and you can see that the teacher rated themselves as proficient. We're going to have to go back and double check their evidence or talk about that during their summative conference, and then we can go ahead and mark that and score that once we have had that summative. I'm going to go ahead and close that here too. And so now you can see that I have scored each of the areas of the student growth. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And if you'll remember last year when we had that kind of summary page, we still have that, and it's the overall summary rating. We'll hit continue here. And when I open that up, the professional practice is listed here with the professional practice rating. The student growth portion is here with the student growth ratings, and that is the percentages that have been assigned to them. They combine these two, and the teacher comes up with an overall proficient. Now you'll notice that it has been rounded to a 3, even though it is a 2.6 something in this particular 2.69, and that is because in the evaluation plan, anything between a 2.5 and a 3.49 is a proficient, which is a 3. We only recognize at the state level the round numbers, so it's proficient at a 3. There is no decimal point here. So that is the overall rating that the educator would receive. So that's how you close out at the time of the summative the professional practice ratings and the student growth ratings. If you have questions about the summative conference and preparing for the summative conference, I would recommend that you go to Module 5 on the Para webpage. That's a video that was created with respect to the summative portion and how you close everything out and what the educator does to prepare and what the evaluator does to prepare. Starting at minute 4 in the video are some sample videos from the AFT where they kind of demonstrate what a summative conference might look like. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.